Shemel Shah. Yahweh Shemel Shah. Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
Psalm 50. The mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Our God shall come, and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. He shall call to the heavens from above, and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself, Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel. And I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings, to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, but the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls, or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. But unto the wicked God saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldst take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee. When thou sawest a thief, and thou consentedst with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers, thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
Testing used to be simple. It's not anymore.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation, hopefully out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, this morning, what is tonight? What I want to get into tonight all right, is dealing with a documentary I seen, dealing with Jake. They got land in America, and it pretty much made me think, the promises made to our forefather dealing with land, and we've been so far removed in this society, from having land, from having inheritance, okay, from the wisdom of how to live off the land, how to work the land, okay, and gardening, agriculture, okay, farming, you know. We've been so far removed in this society where pretty much, the public school system did nothing but teach us, all right, how to be industrial slaves, okay, prep us to be industrial slaves, all right. And you have these cities, you have all this convenience, okay, in modern society where people, don't look at the value of land anymore. People would rather have, Ferraris, okay. People would really rather, go on trips, all right, which is nothing wrong with having those things, all right. But the Lord, when you go into, all right, wealth, true wealth, is gotten by land. The Edomites, because you have, niggas, worth millions of dollars, okay? What they call a high value man, worth $100,000 a year, make $100,000 a year or more, okay? But that's in dollars, all right? You have these super athletes, that make these tens of millions of dollars in these contracts, okay? But these elites, all right, are worth trillions and beyond because they have the true wealth, which is resources, okay? And they have the masses of the people in the rat race, chasing things that really don't matter. All right, chasing things that are really on wealth, okay? Because paper, all right, is not wealth, okay? Having a mansion, okay, and and automobiles is not true wealth, because really after a while it becomes a liability because of maintenance. Okay, true wealth reproduces itself, multiplies itself. Okay, and we're going to get into these things. So before we go into the documentary, I want to go into the promise, okay, that was made to Abraham, passed down to Isaac and Jacob. So I want to deal with that aspect of it, lay the foundation, and then we'll get into the documentary, Lord will, So let's let's go here, okay, and I just want to go in order. Okay, starting from Genesis, the 15th chapter. Okay, now this is when the Lord, really started to deal, all right, with Abraham. His name was still Abram at this point. All right, and we're going to go into all these things. All right, now let's deal with this first. Let's deal with Abraham. Abram, his name was Abram. All right, in the book of Genesis 15:1, before his name was changed. Okay, now this is Genesis 15:1. It says, after these things, the word of the Lord, all right, Yahweh, came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And that's it's a heavy precept. The Lord said, he told Abraham he was a shield and his exceeding great reward, and as Israelite men, our reward is Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. See, everything else is just extra, because the Lord can give us, our heart's desire, and like everything else, is extra, man. But the Lord is our exceeding great reward because through Him comes everything, man. And that's the way we have to think. All right, in society, love to have men, distracted, okay, and pulled every which way. All right, chasing clout, chasing women, okay, trying to be the super tough guy, okay, but nah, man, we should be fighting to be in favor with our power. Now you go to this word Abram, all right, in the Hebrew Abaram, and it goes into exalted, all right, father, okay, and that was Abraham's name before, it was changed, all right, to Abraham. Now, verse 2 says, and Abraham said, Lord, power what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house, it is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abraham said, Behold, to me thou hast not given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. Because Abraham was a man of substance. Okay, and when you have substance, okay, you as a man, your mindset is geared towards legacy, who to pass this down to so they can expand. Okay, so Abraham is thinking about what his legacy. All right, and he's like, I have nothing but my steward, okay, a servant of my house as my heir. All right, and the Lord began to make on this promise, and behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine heir. Okay, we're going to go into that, and there's Isaac. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven and all the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, So shall thy seed be. Okay, so the Lord is telling Abram, which at this time he doesn't have an heir, but the Lord said, look up at the stars, man. If you can number them, then you can number your children, your seed. Okay, because a nation will come out of Abraham. Okay, you see us walking around today, we're one of those stars. All right, that's why the Lord will refer to Jacob as stars, man. Okay, you see in a few prophecies, the Lord would refer to Jacob as stars, man. You know, going back to this promise made to Abraham, and this shows you the Lord can bless nothing and make it plenty, man. You know, so he's telling them, look up at the stars. If you can count them, you can count your seed. Okay, and it can't be done. It says that he believed in the Lord and he counted it to him for righteousness, man. And Abram believed. You know, Abraham walked by faith. He didn't see that. You know, then Abram was already up in age. Okay, so Abraham, he couldn't, you know, while the Lord is promising him this in his age, and Abraham just believes because the Lord is you know, that's how Abraham faith was. The Lord said it's gonna happen, you know, and that's why the Lord, you know, was extremely fond of Abraham. Okay, Genesis 15:18, it says, in the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, Unto thy seed have I given thee this land, and from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Okay, so now he's going into the borders of that land. All right, this is a major promise given to Abraham. All right, was the land. Okay, because this land pretty much is the center of the earth when you go into the land of Israel. Now, if you study ancient kingdoms and different rulers, one thing about it, everyone wanted to have control over the land of Israel. All right. And I want to go into it so we can see that. You know, you go into the Syrians, you know, the Babylonians, the Medo Persians, you know, the Romans, even, you know, after that, those different caliphates, you know, those Islamic, all right, caliphates, you know, those Islamic empires, okay, Ottoman Empire, everyone, okay, wanted to have control over that land that was promised to Abraham, okay, because of its geographical location, and also because that land was once abundant, okay, with resources, hence the land flowing of milk and honey. Now, I want to, let's see. Yep. So I found this article and this map that I want to show. Okay. Make sure it's showing up. Blow it up a little more so we can see that. All right. So, all right. So this is an article, okay, from Black Simba. All right. Now, This is the actual promised land, okay, from the great river Egypt to the great river Euphrates, okay, and it's much larger than when we think of Israel today. You think of that little slither of land, right there on the coast of the Mediterranean, but the land is much bigger. Even a portion of the what will be considered Africa, which is the Sinai Peninsula, okay, is part of their promised land. Okay, now it says when we think of the land of Israel, many of us tend to think of the small sliver of land along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. While this is currently the established land of the state of Israel, Palestine, all right, which we know that's a fraud. We can't go too deep into that, but we know it's a fraud. All right, and this prophecy dealing with it. It says the boundaries of Israel according to the Most High, it says Elohim, all right, which, it'd be tripping. All right, but according to the Most High, the power, all right, of the Hebrews is much larger. Here are some of the biblical references of what the boundaries of Israel were according to, it says Yah, but we know it's Yahweh. Okay, so we just read that in Genesis 15, verse 18, where he pretty much established the border. Okay, because this is the river Egypt. Okay, right here to the left. All right, by Egypt, and then you have the river Euphrates, which is around modern day Syria and parts of modern day Saudi Arabia. Going eastward. Okay, the land what they call Jordan today. Okay, all this Israel. Okay, all this part of the promised land. Okay, now when you go down, you can see, all right, that's the greater, what they call greater Israel. All right, and you see today there's a portion of Iraq, almost all of Syria. Okay, this is Jordan right here. Okay, and then you have the Sinai Peninsula right here by Egypt. Okay, and when you go into these ancient empires, you will have everything to the west, of Israel was considered, the west. Everything to the east was considered the east. Okay, you have the Middle East, the Far East. Okay, but Israel was pretty much the centerpiece of empires, man. Okay, because you had the great Roman Empire, all right, over here in the west. Okay, but then you have different empires of the Parthians. Okay, in the east you have empires of Genghis Khan. Let's say those Islamic caliphates. Okay, that's what those crusades was about, man. Trying to control this land. All right, and land is extremely important, man. The geographical location of land, the resources that grow on the land, all right, is extremely important. Okay, because when you want to run an empire, you will set your capital up in the center. That way, all your subjects will have a even distance to travel for their tribute, man. Okay, so we're going to rule the earth. Well, guess what? The center of the earth is Israel. Okay, the Lord didn't just pick that. He didn't just flip a coin to pick that land. It's strategic. This land is strategic. All right, for rulership. Okay, and this is what was promised to Abraham. All right, now let's go back to some scriptures. I just want to show. Matter of fact, I want to show this too, real quick. Then we'll go back to the scriptures. All right, because we have to understand when we talk about the promise. What was the main things in the promise? Now, this is, just a quick read, so we just get a clear understanding. Now, it goes into the four. All right, said these are the four basic categories of blessings in the Abrahamic covenant. All right, land. okay, which we going over the land. All right. Posterity, which is, a abundance in seed. Okay. Abraham will become, nations. All right. Speaking of the 12 tribes, each tribe likened unto a nation. It says priesthood and gospel. Okay. They're priesthood after the order of Melchizedek. Okay. The gospel, which is the good news. Okay. And what's contained in the gospel, man? The promises of land, posterity, the priesthood of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay. The rulership, salvation from what? From the great destruction, because the Lord is more angry with the earth than he's ever been. But guess what? One of the promises of Abraham is that he would deliver, all right, a remnant of his seed from the destruction. Okay. So when we speak about the promises given unto Abraham, that is what we inherit as Israelites. Okay. But not only just being an Israelite, Israelites that's in the spirit, okay, they're predestined, because the Israelites of the hopeful elect will be of that same spirit of Abraham, moving in faith, just believing based off faith. Okay. You're not in the spirit of Abraham if you're trying to get rid of Paul's writing and you siding with Sonetta and you got all these gimmicks. Like, nah, man, that ain't the spirit that Abraham was in. Okay, Abraham just believed. Okay, you see? So let's go from there. And and all these things, we'll touch on all those things, later on in the lesson. All right. We're going to be here for a little minute. Y'all bear with me in the spirit. Okay. So now let's get back to the precepts and let's just walk down this promise. Okay. Now let's go to Genesis 17 chapter. Okay. When the Lord changes the name of Abraham. Of Abram to Abraham. Okay. So this is Genesis 17:1. And says, and when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the almighty power, walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name be any more called Abram, all right, which is Abraham, exalted father, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And those many nations are the tribes. Okay, and it shows you, because you look at the 12 tribe charts, all those different tribes are like a nation unto themselves, man. You got Brazil, okay, you got Argentina, okay, Chile, you see, Peru, all right, Mexico, Jamaica, Dominican Republic. We all come from one man, Abraham. But each tribe is like a nation within itself. Okay? That's a clear example of that, man. Each of these tribes are nations within themselves, man. The rest of South America, Central South America, man, Panama. Okay? So you go into, all right, Abraham. Okay, in the Hebrew is Abba Raham. Okay, which is what? Father of a multitude, or chief of multitude. Okay, which is the tribes. All right, and it says friend of the Most High and founder of Hebrew nation via the Most High elective covenant. Okay, founder of the Hebrew nation via the Most High's elective covenant. Okay, can't get around it. All right, so now let's just read a little more. And it says, neither shall thy name, back in Genesis 15:5, it says, neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. See, now we're speaking of what? Rulership. All this is within the promise. Okay? Exceeding fruitful, rulership. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God, all right, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. Okay, and we're gonna go into that seed, and I will give unto thee and thy seed after thee the land, okay, wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their power. And this hasn't been fulfilled yet. We haven't received that land as an everlasting possession yet. It's only been temporary, man. Okay. Now, let's go here to Genesis 26. All right. Now, this is Genesis 26:1. Now, this is the Lord speaking with Isaac. It says, and there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. All right, was this modern day Gaza? You know, I think I just looked it up. All right, was this all within our land? Okay. Hebrew Gerar. All right, a lodging place. Yep. It says a Philistine town south of Gaza. All right, so this, and that you always hear that Gaza straight, all the, back and forth between, those Palestinians and, okay, small hats. All right, well, there's all our land. Okay. According to promise, it says, and the Lord appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Okay. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee and will bless thee, for unto thee, Salaki said, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Okay. So this land is being promised to Isaac, which was promised to Abraham. Okay. Going back to the promise of prosperity, which is, all right, that many seeds. And I will make thy seed to multiply the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed. Okay? And speaking of the tribes, man, and that's a whole nother subject. We can go into it another time. We just deal with that. Okay? But I just want to keep walking down this promise. Now, that was given, okay, unto Isaac. The Lord had that one-on-one with Isaac. All right, and Isaac passed the blessing down to who? Okay? This is Genesis 27. And 27. And it says, and he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of the field which the Lord hath blessed. All right, this is what Jacob supplanted the blessing from Esau. Him and Rachel put a play together. Okay, not Rachel, Rebecca, Salaki. All right, him and his mother Rebecca pretty much put a play together. Okay, for Jacob to get the blessing, which it was always set up for Jacob to get the blessing. All right, anyway, and you can read that whole story. All right, from the beginning. All right, well, we just hitting points. It said, therefore, the Most High give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth. And the dew of heaven is the whole earth, man, the possession of the earth. And the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. All right. And this is what the resources. What do resources come from? The earth. Corn. That's agriculture. Wine. That's the grapes. Okay. True wealth comes from possession of the earth, not a record deal. Okay, not pushing rocks, slanging birds. Okay. True wealth comes from the earth. True substance comes from the earth. True money is the earth. Okay. Let people serve thee. All right. Showing you that what? People is a resource. All right. And people are the top resource, man. Okay. And people serving us is what, man? All right. Labor. We're going to own all the human labor on the earth. See, Esau owns the human labor right now. Land and human labor is true wealth. Okay? Because through land and human labor, all right, you turn your land into wealth. You make, let's go into the word serve, all right, which is abad in the Hebrew. Okay? It says what? To work, to labor, to work, to do work, to work for another, to serve another by labor, to serve as subjects. Okay? It says to be worked, to be tilled of the land. So we're being promised the earth, we're also being promised the human resources of the earth, man, which is the nations. Okay? We're going to need these heathens to work, all right, our blessing, our inheritance, man. Okay? For our use. It says, be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curses thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Okay? All right? So we have to understand rulership, because you even go to a kingdom. What does kingdom mean? King. All right? Domain, his domicile, the earth, the part of the earth, whatever earth. Okay, that's why you have the king of Ireland, the king of Britain. That means what? The king of Ireland, all right, his domicile is the landmass of Ireland. The king of France, going back, all right, to the Renaissance period during those times, man, just making examples. Okay, or any time, king of Assyria. Well, he was the king of the land. These different kings were kings of the land of Syria. That was their kingdom. That was their domicile. So to have a kingdom, you need land. Okay? So let's go here to Genesis. So we went over the 101 that the Lord had with Abraham, the 101 he had with Isaac, and the 101, let's go to the 101 he has with Jacob. Okay, we just seen the blessing passed down to Jacob. Okay? Now, the lesson was given to Jacob. Now we're going to go into that one-on-one encounter, okay, that the Most High had with Jacob. And I pray it's making sense. Let me know if y'all good. We need to go over anything, any questions, but let me know if it's making sense or not. So let's go here. We're gonna get into those promises. And Lord will, this makes the documentary make sense as well. But this is Genesis 35 and 9. It says, and the Most High appeared unto Jacob again, and when he came unto Padan-aram and blessed him. All right. It says, and the Most High said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob or Israel. So now Jacob is going to a name change. Israel, Yasharahla, Prince of the Power. Okay. But Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And the Most High said to him, I am the Most High Almighty. I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Okay? And kings shall come out of thy loins, their rulership. So the Most High is establishing the rulership, this dynasty, all right, with Jacob. Okay, and it will trickle to the 12 tribes, and that's where the covenant will rest. Okay, because through Jacob, all right, he had those two wives and two, okay, handmaids, concubines, basically, all right, and through them he had those sons, all right. And you had the two grandsons, two sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, all right, and those men, all those men would be the progenitors, okay, of the 12 tribes, man. Okay, all these different tribes which will make up the great nation of Israel. It says, in the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to thee. See that? Going back to that land inheritance. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to thee, I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. So now the Lord says, I'm going to give you the land, and to thy seed after thee. Okay? You see that? So anything that comes from this lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, is a partaker of this promise, of these promises, man. Okay? And the hopeful elect are going to inherit these promises, all right, this first go around, man. Okay? Now, we established that. Let's get this in Exodus. Okay, now you can read that whole chapter, all right, in your own time, but we're going to get to the point. So, this is Exodus 3 and 13. It says, in Moses, this is the Most High introducing himself to Moses. Okay, and reintroducing himself to those descendants of Abraham. Now Israel is a nation in bondage. So when he comes to Moses, and Moses said unto the Most High, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the power of your fathers have sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is thy name? What shall I say unto them? And the Most High said to Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am have sent me. Now he didn't leave it there, because you got guys who try to make the Most High name be a higher, Messiah. Okay, because that's how they say I am that I am in the Hebrew. Okay, but he didn't leave it there. Okay, and there's another lesson within itself. It says, and the Most High said, moreover, but better, but above what I just told you. Okay, moreover, all right, over what I just told you, unto Moses, because he's pretty much explaining, look, I am that I am. Most High just explaining, I'm me, but then he would give him a proper name. It said, thus shalt thou say, he was telling Moses, I exist, I am that I am, like, just pretty much summarizing his existence, man. No beginning, no end. Okay, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, you see that? And the power of Jacob. You see, the Bible is about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, these characters that people claim that they believe in, Jesus and God, it has nothing to do with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, it says the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob have sent me. It says have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. When it says the Lord, it says in all caps, it's speaking of Yahweh. He gives him his proper name, Yahweh. Okay? You see, he says, go and gather the elders. Okay? I'm matter of fact, this is for edification's sake. You can't skim by the name. And this, Drake makes simple things hard, man. Okay? And you can just go to these characters, all right, these Hebrew characters. All right, you have the first character, like a little floating 7, Yah. Okay, there's Yah. All right. You have this character here. Okay. The second character makes the Ha. All right, Yah Ha. Okay. Then you have like this long 7, this little skinny long 7. There's the Wa. And then you have that Ha sound again. Yah Ha Wa. All right. And this is the name that he gave Moses, Yahweh. Okay. So let's go back. All right. It says, go and gather. Verse 16, Exodus 3 and 16 says, go and gather the elders of Israel together and say unto them, the Lord power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. So the Lord, seeing the bondage as he's seeing our bondage now. Okay? He was seeing the affliction that the tribes was going into, man. Remember, these are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that's going through this, man. Okay? It says, and I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto the land flowing with milk and honey. Okay? Resources. You see? Abundance. All right, and we in the time now because he eventually delivered, okay, our people. He delivered us out that situation, that affliction, and eventually brought us into that land, but it was temporal. Now we're going to go and eternal. All right, we're going to get into these things, but I just want to, lay the foundation of land. This documentary that I came across, he pretty much got these Jakes in America. And yep, that's exactly, brother. So let's cue up this documentary. Okay, because we all familiar with that term, 40 acres and a mule. All right. Jay used to talk about that, but we're gonna go to the origin of that promise, okay, and get some history pretty good. So we'll watch probably most of it, man. I'll try to let it play for the most part. And Baba Kasha, when you brothers hear particular things in the documentary, in the spirit of post precepts, like you brothers usually do, and yeah, we'll ride it out from there, But you see these Jakes, they understand the importance of land. Okay, land is attached to your legacy, and land is attached to wealth. Okay, order. Okay, so let me cue it up.
First up, we've got Shake Video.
The U.S. government promised newly freed Black.
All right, so I'm gonna let it play. It's about 22 minutes long. Okay, and we just gonna go, make some points, and we see the importance of land. We expound on some things. All right.
It's this land that drew us back here. My grandfather, he wanted better for his children. My father wanted better for his children, and of course we do. That's why they love this land and they hold on to it. They want to pass it to them.
In 1865, the U.S. government promised newly freed Black Americans 40 acres and a mule, providing an opportunity for them to build wealth and independence.
Land has always been about freedom, political freedom, physical freedom, economic freedom.
So land is power.
Most definitely.
But that promise was broken again and again and again.
Black farmers and other Black landowners have repeatedly been targeted to have their property taken.
Do you think that you would have been that much further ahead if you were one of your white counterparts?
Oh, yes. We would not have lost the land. We would have gotten the loans and the services that all farmers should get through the government.
While some are rediscovering hope in collective action,
we cannot beg other people to give us anything. And that's what freedom is about, the freedom to manifest what we know we deserve.
for others, the struggle continues.
You got to fight for your land. You got to fight to keep it.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company.
Daddy had lived a good life, you know, up north when he was in Massachusetts. But there was something here that brought him back. And I know it's that desire to farm, the quietness. It's a wonderful place to raise your children, you know, and it still is. My father wouldn't have ever thought that I would come back here and do any farming. He wouldn't have thought anybody would come back, especially me. So you never know. You can't say, well, you know, none of the children are going to come back, so, you know, we might as well sell it. Same thing with even the old tractors. One of the tractors is 80 years old. Dad could have very easily said, well, I'm going to get rid of these tractors. Nobody's ever going to use them again. But here we are, farming with those same old tractors.
Veteran and retired teacher Mark Smith lives with his wife Janet on the land his family has owned since 1926. Mark's grandfather, a sharecropper, had traded his cotton harvest for these 600 acres during the height of the Jim Crow era.
This is my grandmother, and that's she and Papa right there. Those are the ones who bought this house, bought this property.
And this is your family. This is what came from that.
Right. These are the children and everybody that came from that. This is out in front of the house. This is Daddy and the mother and all of the children. They were all very successful people. And I know where it comes from. It comes from this land. So, you know, we do everything we can to protect that and hold on to it. You know, don't sell it. Don't give it away. Don't let anybody take it.
Land equals freedom in so many ways. Historically, land equaled freedom in the sense that there was physical space, a separation between Black people and people who oppressed them. And then being able to use your own expertise to produce resources for your family and be economically independent. That created freedom. People really don't understand the importance of the Black farmer in the African-American experience. The Black churches were often on land that had been given by a Black farmer, or the Black schools were located on land that a Black farmer had provided.
So land is power.
Most definitely.
Because enslaved Africans could not own property, it wasn't until 1865 that Black Americans were able to formally request land from the government. But the opportunity only arose after a massacre of newly freed people at the hands of Union General Jefferson C. Davis during the Civil War. In December 1864, Davis took an opportunity to shed himself of the freed people, following his troops to safety at Ebenezer Creek. He got his soldiers across the creek using pontoon bridges, but stranded the freed women, children, and elderly on the other side, despite a Confederate cavalry following close behind.
The best figure that we can come up with is that hundreds of people apparently drowned in the creek trying to get across. In other words, they chose death over slavery. The eyewitnesses that saw what happened at the creek were absolutely horrified. And so it becomes this huge public relations disaster for the Lincoln administration. Here is, again, an army that's supposed to be liberating people, and it's causing the deaths of hundreds of people. So when Sherman takes Savannah in mid-December of 1864, Secretary of War Stanton ends up coming to Savannah, both to investigate what happened at Ebenezer Creek, but then also to figure out what are we going to do with all of these thousands of Black people in the coastal area of Georgia that are now free. So on January the 12th, 1865, that evening, there was a meeting held at Sherman's headquarters, and there were 20 African-American leaders that were invited. Now, all 20 of these African-American leaders were either Black ministers or Black lay leaders.
67-year-old freedman Garrison Frazier, a Baptist minister, acted as the church leader's spokesperson. When asked what the freedmen needed to take care of themselves and maintain their freedom, Frazier replied, "The way we can best take care of ourselves is to have land and turn it and till it by our own labor." 4 days later, General William T. Sherman issued Special Field Order Number 15, which confiscated 400,000 acres of Confederate land and distributed it to freed people in 40-acre parcels. Later, the Army provided some of them with mules.
So that's where you get that term, 40 acres and a mule. All right, pretty much, you know, you had the northern, all right, the blue coats, okay, which was, all right, the Union Army, okay, was supposed to be anti-slavery, you know, pro-Black, pro-freedom, you know. But what happened is they left, you know, some Jakes stranded. All right, and a lot of Jakes, you know, instead of, you know, going back into captivity, because you had the Confederate Army pretty much on their trail, you know, much like, you know, during the time of Pharaoh. Okay, Jake rather, you know, a lot of Jake chose to drown than to go back. And see, he got out, and it went against the narrative that Esau was pushing about him, you know, the Union, the North, you know, being for Jake. Like, nah, all these Edomites is the devil, okay? And this whole slavery thing was nothing but this whole so-called, what they call the emancipation, which there's nothing but a transfer, all right, from private owners to corporate owned slaves, okay? So what they try to do to appease, all right, not Jake, you know, but to appease, okay, the narrative and the status quo, you know, they started giving Jake, you know, 40 acres and a mule. All right. But if a brother could post it in Sirach 14 and 7, the book of Sirach, chapter 14, verse 7. You know, but that's where you get that term, you know, 40 acres and a mule. All right. They actually gave, you know, some slaves that, you know, to try to appease, you know, the press, the bad press they was getting for what had happened. And it's just Esau saving face. Okay, this nigga, you know, this guy is not genuine. Okay, with nothing that he does. All right. Now this is the brother GMS Spiritual Art 144, and it says, this is Rock 14 and 7 says, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. Okay, he didn't want to give Jake a goddamn thing. Okay, but at the last he gonna declare his wickedness, man. So we gonna watch it. You know, he's gonna go into it.
The idea was to respond to that need for land, respond for that need for economic independence and self-sufficiency, with the idea that eventually they would be able to sustain themselves.
But less than a year after the special order was issued, President Andrew Johnson returned most of the land back to its previous white owners. This is what became known as the broken promise of 40 acres and a mule.
I think this idea of 40 Acres and a Mule centralized the agrarian traditions of African American people within the rural South, within the Black Belt. And land, of course, was central to that and central to their economic independence. But it also was the beginning of missed opportunities and unfulfilled promises.
On the first day, I did $12,000, and that was like, wow, that was cool. I got to the point where I was making.
So guys, thank you for coming, and everybody.
Thank you guys for all you are doing.
No, it's every one of us.
It takes a
If
team.
You put that sign in front of your house and you speak up, you know what? You're just as powerful as anything else.
Yeah.
In April 2022, a private railroad company sent letters to the Smiths and other residents of their predominantly Black neighborhood asking to purchase some of their property. The company has plans to construct a railroad to transport building materials and timber. Around 3/4 of a mile of track would cut through the middle of the Smiths family's property and would sit about 700 yards behind Mark and Janet's house. After the Smiths refused to sell, the company petitioned for eminent domain, a legal practice the government or a private utility can use to seize private citizens' land for just compensation if it's for the public good. The Sandersville Railroad Company claims that the railroad would annually generate at least $1.5 million for the county.
You can see where the markers are and where the train came up through, where it's to come this way,
right,
and go across. We're on my nephew's property right now.
Right.
Where my nephew's is going to cross his, and then it's going to cross my brother William, because he has three tracks here. He's going to go across all three of his pieces.
In terms of distance, length, what are we talking about here?
It's pretty wide. It's pretty wide. And that's an issue, but that's not the only issue. What about your grandkids and kids and things? They come back here. You got a train, you know? What about people on the train? I mean, just all kinds of reasons we don't want it here. Environmental problem, noise.
Derailment.
Derailment, fires.
Right.
You know, toxic waste. What about waste? What are you going to bring through here? You're going to be bringing in kind of chemicals? And then on top of that, all of this, the value of it, it plummets. You know, it's not worth what it was.
Our sons will inherit something with somebody else's name on it because it's a
It's forever.
lifetime.
It's forever.
It's forever.
We want to keep our property clean and clear, just like it's been for the last 97 years with us. And we're going to fight to keep it that way.
The Sandersville Railroad Company says the new track would be used for one round-trip train per day that travels at 20 miles per hour to minimize noise. The company also says it complies with all state and federal environmental guidelines.
And you know damn well, Esau ain't gonna have no train just going 20 miles per hour, man, and it's hauling goods, you know. But you see Jake, you know, fighting for the land. You know, they don't understand the gospel. Okay, which we're gonna get into it. All right, just letting this play, but just for the sake to show you, you know, how Jake, you know, understand. You have a few Jake that understand the value of land. You know, they understand the value of inheritance. Okay, which is something we lost as a whole. Okay, and then, you know, it's gonna go into some more information. But Esau being the devil. Because you know he can run that train through a lot of other places, man. But Esau just being the goddamn devil, man. He don't want to let Jay make it, man. That perpetual hatred. Okay?
Land ownership is a crucial tool for wealth building and independence, both of which Black Americans have struggled to attain, being transported to the U.S. against their will centuries ago. The total area of Black-owned farmland peaked over 100 years ago at 16 million acres, but has since plummeted more than 70%, totaling an estimated loss of $326 billion.
Black Americans have been the target of vitriolic racism and discrimination pretty much from the time they acquired their ownership in the land. Some of that manifested itself in extra-legal violence. A substantial number of Black Americans who were lynched were actually upwardly mobile African Americans, both socially and economically. In addition to the extra-legal, there's been any number of technically legal ways in which Black Americans have lost land.
Historically, urban renewal and eminent domain have separated hundreds of thousands of African Americans from their property.
Redlining, the practice of mortgage lenders denying loans to people based on their race or where they live. The promise of aid that fails to materialize is all too familiar to many farmers of color, long subjected to discrimination in government programs.
So yeah, man. And we're gonna get a couple of precepts. All right. If a brother can put that in Jeremiah 17:4 as well, it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you even with a sword destruction." Okay? But at the end of the day, Jake is hoping, Jake has hope, and Esau is going to be fair. He's going to do right. He's never going to do that towards our people, man. Okay? And that's why we're going to get into the prophecy. We're going back to our own land. Okay? You can have goddamn America, man. The nukes finna hit this place anyway. This place going to melt with fervent heat. Okay? But you get, as a man, you want to have your own, you got your family gave you the land, so you want to hold on to it. Like, we get it. yeah, we fully get it, man. But just hold on, Jake. We finna get the hell out of here, man. Okay? We going to the true promised land. This ain't it. Okay? This is from the brother Hopeful Elect. This is from the brother Yaqub, Micah 2:2. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. And so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage," man. And this is how Esau, he goes throughout the earth doing this, man. But he loves to pick on Jake, man. Okay? You know how he gets down with Jake. All right? Yep, brother got it. Yep. This is the book of Jeremiah 17:4, the brother Hopeful Elect 3. And it says, "And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee." Okay, because we discontinue from being Israelites. We discontinue from being under the banner of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua to being black Negroes under the banner of some damn Jesus Christ, man. Okay? And it says, "And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not." And this is their land now. Okay? "For you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever," because we're here for a punishment, man. All right? If a brother can post that, captive exile, in Isaiah. Okay? You see? We're here, for a punishment. Okay? It'll never be fair here. It'll never be right. It'll never be what we want it to be, man. As long as this man is in power. Okay? And that's part of the gospel. That's part of the good news. That this man being removed from power, man. This man being removed from being over us, man. Okay? Yep. It's the brother GMS Spiritual Art 1, Jeremiah 15:33. He said, "Thus said the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go." Okay, and this is America's modern day Egypt. Okay? We're under the affliction, we're under the heavy burden of Esau Edom. He'll never be fair. You see? But one thing that these devils, especially these low-level Edomites, okay, one thing they ain't banking on is what? We have a redeemer. Okay? verse 34, Jeremiah 50:34 said, their Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Okay? And the Babylon is speaking of America, man. All right, he's gonna put this bitch to sleep. Okay? Want nothing to have this place but desert animals. Okay? Our power is strong, and he's gonna show himself strong. All right, to the devils, man. Okay? Especially here in America. America's gonna get the majority of the Lord's wrath that he got for the earth. The majority of it is towards America, man. Okay? GMS Spiritual Art 144. This Isaiah 51:14 said the captive exile hastening that he may be loose. You know, and the truth, all right, it gives us the perspective to understand that we're captive exiles, man. We're not in our home. Okay? And we hasten to be loose. All right? From under this man. It says, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. Okay? And Jake understand that land, you know, the resources that land produces, you know, Jake with land, you know, Jake that has the wisdom, you know, the land, know how to work the land. Okay? That's a priceless wisdom, to have wisdom of agriculture, man, and working the land and farming. Like, that's a priceless wisdom. You know, we fell from that. Okay? Nigga had us trying to be T.I. and Jeezy, you know, this stupid shit. Okay? A street nigga. What the fuck is a street nigga, man? This shit ain't even real. This just the things that Esau had us imitating, this shit ain't even real. Okay? You can't drop a street nigga on land and he understand how to produce and how to work the land. Okay? That shit only work in these concrete jungles, man. And it don't work there because it's death. Okay? You can't take one of these, you know, Instagram badges and put them on some land that needs to be worked, that, you know, the crops need to be harvested. Okay? Because you put a bell pepper and a cutting board in front of these goddamn women today, the majority of them, the modern woman, she won't know what to do. Okay? But Esau made sure he separated us from their wisdom, you know, of the land. All right, but we're going to get all these things back, you know? And our land is going to come with slaves, man. Just like Esau, his inheritance came with slaves. Okay? We going to be the new plantation owners, man. All right? Let's put that out there, but I'm going to let it play.
In the case of Black farmers, the whole process of getting a loan approved was just awful. You had people who were supposed to help you and these government agencies who didn't and worked against you. In some cases, land would get targeted and they would help make sure you were not successful and lose it.
My name is
My father was murdered by a white farmer who was not prosecuted. I made a commitment on the night of my father's death to stay in the South, which was not what I intended to do, to stay in the South and devote my life to working for change.
In 1969, civil rights activists Shirley Sherrod and her husband Charles founded New Communities, one of the first community land trusts in the country.
We decided that Black people had lost land so much through the years, we wanted to develop a way of not losing the land. So the land would be held in trust, which meant we would all own it. But then the opposition from white people, you know, there were times they would shoot at the buildings. They did everything to make sure we were run off that land.
To intimidate you.
Yes, we had a pretty big farming operation going until we ran into droughts in the 70s. So it forced us to go to the local USDA office to try to get an emergency loan like all farmers were getting. The guy said, "You'll get a loan here over my dead body."
Really?
Yes, put us into a 3-year fight just to try to get a loan with continued drought and not having the money needed to operate the farm in the way that it should have been operated.
So essentially, you all were squeezed out of ownership.
Yes, there were programs that they should have been offering us, which would have given us a chance to save everything.
Several reports published between 1965 and 1997 from both federal civil rights committees and a commission group confirmed the USDA has consistently failed to provide Black farmers equal access to loans.
Not surprising, Black Americans who were farmers began calling the USDA decades ago the last plantation. And Black farmers have been saying for the longest time that they were being denied loans that they were totally qualified for.
The nation's African-American farmers are stepping up pressure on federal agricultural officials to end what they say is racism by the government.
In 1997, Timothy Pigford and 400 fellow Black farmer plaintiffs filed a class action lawsuit against the USDA, known as Pigford v. Glickman. It alleged the USDA discriminated against Black farmers in its allocation of loans.
We have not done enough. I accept that. We need to pay reparations for documented cases of past discrimination.
In settling the Pigford cases, there was a process set up where individual Black farmers had to make their case. Initially, a lot of the farmers were left out of the settlement because of just incredibly poor notice. But you ultimately did have actually 2 rounds of Pigford.
Pigford 1 and 2 settlements added up to more than $2 billion. New Communities members received $13 million, which was used to revive their operation decades after its foreclosure.
It's 1,638 acres. This place was once owned by the largest slave owner and the wealthiest man in Georgia at that time in the 1800s. Now we started planning and looking at how we could take a place that had a bad beginning in terms of slavery and use that to work with our people. And that's what we're busy doing.
While the Sherrods were able to regain what they'd lost, for the other estimated 30,000 plus approved claimants, most received $50,000.
Pigford is not nothing, but the notion that it's reparations upon closer examination just doesn't hold water. Economic estimate of the farmland Black farmers lost between 1920 and 1997, $326 billion. So when you compare $2 billion from Pigford that was sold as reparations, was sold as making people whole, and you compare it to the level of harm, it's obviously the level of harm is orders of magnitude higher.
A recent analysis found that the USDA provided a disproportionately low share of direct loans to Black farmers in 2022, but the
The point, pretty much, you know, I left the link, you know, so if you want to watch the rest of it, about 8 minutes left. Okay. At the end of the day, your true reparations will come through Yahweh by Shem Shai. These devils will never do right, you know, by us as a people, you know, and we, in the truth, we don't expect them to, you know, we know we're going to have to give them blood. All right, and it's going to be through Yahweh Shai. So let's get a few more precepts. And if a brother could post the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verses 30 through, I guess, the end of the chapter. I think it ended at 35, 36. All right, but a brother could post that in Baruch 30 to the end of the chapter. All right, so let's get in these precepts, man. All right, and this is why we go to see Esau. He's not going to do right by his promises, but the Lord is. Okay. Matter of fact, let's get that in Hebrews chapter 11. All right, and then you go back to the beginning. All right, with Abraham, man. Okay, this is Abraham. This is a book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 8. It said, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is the Most High. Okay, we look for the heavenly Jerusalem, man. Okay, the heavenly rulership that the Lord is going to bring to the earth, man. We're going to be changed into gods. Okay, we're going back to that land. Our land is God's. Heavenly Jerusalem, man. Okay, the hell with goddamn Georgia, man. Okay, it says through faith also Sarah received strength to conceive seed and was delivered a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Okay, therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky and multitude, and of the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. Okay, because as a man, you want land. Okay, you have inheritance and resources, and you want to fill the earth with your seed, man. You want to have your own everything, your own land, your own women. Okay, your own families. You want your own everything, your own resources. Okay, and that's what the Lord is going to give us, man. Okay, verse 14 says, for they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. Okay, and truly, if they had been mindful of their country from which they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country that is in heavenly. Okay, wherefore the Most High is not ashamed to be called their power, for he hath prepared for them a city. That's what we look forward to, man. Okay, and these promises are all throughout the Bible. We look for a better country, man, our own. Okay, and out of Jerusalem, we're going to rule the earth in righteousness, man. Okay, oh, I say we got much more to look forward to, man. It get to a point as a man, nothing here. All right, you should, it's like, what could be a temptation? Understanding what we got to come. We all, fight through certain things, man. Get to a point like, goddamn, America is so goddamn washed up, everything in it, and then this nigga not gonna do right. Okay, Esau show time after time that he's not gonna do right, but nah, man, we're gonna deal with Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. He's gonna do right, man. Okay, and it's gonna be eternal. Okay, let's get this in 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 10. All right, just hitting point. 2 Samuel 7 and 10. It says, moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in the place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. Okay? So we're going to be appointed in the place of our own. Okay? We're not going to worry about getting loans. Okay? From these devils, because there ain't going to be no droughts. Okay? In our land. All right, and ain't gonna be no droughts anywhere we dwell, but we'll have the power to bring a drought. Because when the scriptures talk about how a nation that don't, obey, that they will get no rain, it's gonna be a drought. We gonna have authority over the drought. Okay, you're not gonna have to go to the devil for the want of all things anymore, man. Okay, Yahweh Shai is gonna establish the throne of David, and he's gonna rule in righteousness, man. Let's get that. Okay, because it speaks about their rulership. It says the reign of the righteous king, which is Yahweh Shai. Malak Tazadok, man, the king of righteousness, man. Okay, Psalm 72:1, it says, give thy king thy judgments, O power, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. Okay, he shall judge thy people with righteousness and the poor with judgment, man. Because no matter how much money, okay, the things that our people have, guess what? We're poor just in power. We have no power. Okay, you have our people that's in poverty, okay, and we all pretty much, on the lower end when you go into, just wealth of this society, okay. But see, we're poor in power. But see, Yahweh Shai, he's our power, okay. Just as the Heavenly Father told Abraham, I'm thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. You see, verse 3, it said, the mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness. He shall judge the poor, okay, and the mountains are the governments, okay. The government of Israel is going to bring peace to Israel, because guess what? A lot of those people, man, especially that older generation, a lot of them, dying off, hey, but they're going to come back into a kingdom, man. Okay, and the Lord, some of them are going to be reserved to be delivered now. They ain't going to scratch and beg and kick, for Esau to do right by them. No, Esau is going to be in captivity, and Yahweh Shai going to do right by his people, man. Okay, it said he shall judge the poor of the people. He shall save the children of the needy, and shall break in pieces the oppressor. Okay, Yahweh Shai gonna set us up, man. The average Israelite man is gonna live better than the elite. Okay, because first and foremost, the average Israelite man is gonna have immortality, man. Okay, spiritual powers, and the earth is gonna yield forth its strength to his people. Okay. Verse 5, it says, they shall fear as long as the sun and moon endure, and those are eternal entities, the sun and the moon, throughout all generations, man. So this kingdom, this righteous king is going to rule forever, man, Yahweh Shai. Okay? And he's going to bring back, Yahweh Shai is going to bring back that era of King Solomon up on another level. Let's prove it. All right, let's get this in 1 Kings, the 4th chapter. All right, this is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 4. Okay, 1 Kings 4:20 said, Judah and Israel were many as the sand of the sea, which is by the sea, and multitude eating and drinking and making merry. Okay, I want to jump down. All right, we was in abundance, man. Men got to enjoy their families, man. None of this dysfunction, this madness. Okay, the dumbass coaches. All right, that our people cling to, hot girls, and baby daddy, baby mama. None of that stupid shit, man. It was family, it was structure, it was abundance, it was peace. Okay, goddamn prison, no, man. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, here you go. It's verse 25, and it says, "And Judah and Israel dwelt safely, every man, all right, dwell safely. And, you know, Esau shooting up Jake houses and dragging Jake out the house, dragging them behind trucks and hanging them. Nah, man. Children of wickedness, they not gonna have that authority. Man. Okay. Esau gonna be so far out, you know, in the mines, and you know, Esau gonna be way out there somewhere, man. We you know, the fact that we know that he's being oppressed, the fact that we enjoying the earth, man. Okay, because I really don't want to see that nigga like that, man. Because I'm gonna know this nigga's being oppressed, and that we gonna have systems set up where this nigga is suffering, man. You know, you gonna have look, you know, hey, look, you gonna terrorize that nigga, man. Okay, but really, man, hey, it's gonna be so much to enjoy. It says every man under his vine and under his fig tree, man. You see that? Every man having their own substance, their own land, their own estates, their own wives, their own everything, man, their own servants. It says from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. All right. So fast forward in prophecy, okay, because prophecy what gives us a glimpse of what's to come. Okay, this is the book of Micah, chapter 4. All right, this is the book of Micah, chapter 4, verse 1. All right, it's similar. All right, it's the same prophecy in Isaiah. All right, but it makes another point. This is Micah 4:1. It said, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow into it. Okay? No more having to beg and petition, okay, and try to get a settlement. No, man. The nations, all right, going to flow into us. We're going to be the ones that lend. Okay? They don't have to come to us, okay, and get loans and, you know, and get order. All right? It says, and many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up into the mountain of the Lord, into the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth to Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Neither nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore, but they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts have spoken it. You see that? But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, their own substance. Each Israelite man is going to be beyond well off, man. Okay? And none, all right, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts, it has spoken it, man. All right? You have to be in fear, tiptoeing around the earth, you know, in fear. You know, the devil can come in at any time and just wreak havoc. Nah, man. You know, it's going to be a new day. You see? So let's go here. There's always more. But we'll get that in Baruch. Let's see. So yeah, let's get this in Baruch. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30. It said, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivity they shall remember themselves, and this is their land. Okay? And the Lord knew that we would end up in this circumstance, man. He set it up this way. All right, and ultimately for him to showcase power. Verse 31, it says, and shall know that I am the Lord, their power, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. Okay, and that's the Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit. He's given us a heart, a mind, okay, to know him, okay, and ears to hear. You see? Hear what? This gospel, man, is good news. Okay? And it says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. Okay? And this is what the hopeful elect is doing at this time. And we understand we're in the land of our captivity, man. Okay? We're not here to protest this devil about this land, all right, which is going to be destroyed. Okay? We got our own country coming, man. Okay? Baruch 2:33 says, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. Yeah, we understand how we got here. All right? And that's what caused us to what? To repent and not to follow our forefathers that was disobedient that got us here, man. Okay? We understand, like, we fully appreciate righteousness now, man. We fully appreciate order, man. If America didn't teach us nothing else, man, it should teach us the appreciation of order. All right? Baruch 2:34 says, and I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, okay? And they will be lords of it. We're going to be lords of those lands, going back to the promise of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's going to bring us into that land. Okay? And that land is going to give forth its abundance, man. Okay? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. Okay? Okay? We're going to be increased in every way, man. We're going to be increased as a people, going to multiply. Our livestock is going to multiply. Everything is going to multiply, man. Everything is going to be fruitful in that day, man. Okay, in that time, in that era, which is an everlasting era. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power. Okay? And they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. Okay? This is all within the promises of Abraham. And we see now the significance, of land, especially, you brothers, some of you sisters probably been dealing with the plant-based like now, because all the ingredients that we need for our food, it should be on the land, on our land. Like look at the just imagine being able just to go out and get your ingredients fresh for that day. Because meat not wicked. It's just the Esau processing, the way he processes it is wicked, man. And we eat the best of the worst. Okay? But as we really get back into the earth, we should appreciate the promise more. Brothers get into the stones, the smells, all those things come from the earth. Your favorite resin, your favorite incense, all those things come from the earth, come from land. Okay? Your favorite foods, all those things come from land. Okay? The clothes, cotton, linen, silk, all that comes from land. Okay? So yeah, man, we got a lot to look forward to, man. The Lord gonna make this thing right. So that's the point. I pray that you brothers and you few sisters were edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, Shalom.